Welcome back to Relatable Wisdom, the podcast where everyday people share the quotes that shaped how they see life, offering you gentle wisdom to carry into your own daily journey. Today's guest is Pradeepa Narayanaswamy, a leadership coach and author who describes herself as a diamond miner for leaders. She has this beautiful gift of walking into any room and shifting the energy, helping people see the brilliance that's already within them. From her early days as one of just 12 women selected from thousands as a major tech company to now guiding leaders across the world, Pradeepa believes our greatest treasures are found by digging deeper, not climbing higher. Let's settle in and hear the words that have guided our remarkable journey. Tell us your name and what you do.
My name is Pradeepa Narayanaswamy, and I'm joining you today from Dallas, Texas, in the United States. And what I do is I mine for diamonds. I'm a diamond miner.
Okay, you're rich.
I am.
Okay, what's your favorite quote, Pradeepa?
My favorite quote or the phrase that I've been really fond of and talking about it really passionately with my students and my clients is be a stand for your work.
Okay, what does that mean?
What I mean by that is oftentimes people are really hesitant to talk about their work, what they do, the value that it brings, the impact that it has on people. And there can be various reasons for that. And I used to be a believer of this as well. Like if I do really good work, people will notice that, right?
Okay.
And there are a lot of people that I coach and teach these days are of that belief, right? Like all I have to do is I will do a fantastic job and my manager sees it or my boss sees it or my organization sees it, my team sees it, and then things will happen for me. So people are often dependent upon other people to see their good work, and based on what they see and how they take it, good things will happen to me. What I have come to realize is it's in each and every one of our responsibility to be a stand for our own work, meaning it's our responsibility to not just do a good work, but also give a voice to that work and showcase the value, showcase the impact of that work, how the work and what the work that we are doing is changing the world, changing the team, changing the impact for the customers or whomever is benefiting from that work. Okay? And a lot of people don't give that voice thinking that, oh, if I have to continuously talk about my work, is that like tooting my own horn? Would that become too much? Will people be thinking like, why is this person talking so much about their work? Wisdom, honestly, I used to believe exactly the same thing too, right? And I used to think that like, oh, if I talk a lot about my work, does that mean that I'm just walking around and tooting my horn? And how is that going to feel? Are people going to get upset or irritated by that? All those things are myths, and I busted my own myths, right? Because the more that I talked about my work, the more people get to know what I do, how the work benefits, and they are able to benefit from my sharing. And more people, the relevant people, notice what I'm doing, the value that I bring. And if they want similar value, they are now easily able to approach me. So in this day and age where everything is digital, everybody has the opportunity to not just do a good work, but be a stand for their own work and talk about it loudly and proudly. And that is one of the ways you can stand out. If you want to grow, you have to own your growth. If you want growth, you have to talk about the good work that you are doing by yourself. And you can do it in a way where it doesn't look like you are tooting your horn. You can do it in a way where you can articulate the impact, articulate the value, and make it about the other person.
Be a stand for your work. At first, when I hear the quote, I'm like, So are you saying we should be talking about our work and all that? And I mean, if you do good work, the customers will come. The people that the work is meant for they will find the work. But when you look at it this other way, you realize that if the work you're doing is meaningful, if the work you're doing is important, if the work you're doing is life changing, if the work you're doing has the capacity to change someone's life in a good way, then it's wickedness not to share the message with them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the words that I started telling my students and my clients is if you don't showcase and tell the people your talent, what you can bring to the world and to other people's life, I'm going to use a strong word here, wisdom. So please bear with me. It's almost a sin if you don't share that. Sharing is caring, right? Like
Yeah.
I've come to learn that sharing is caring. The more you share, that means the more generous you are and you are caring about other people. If you don't share, how would people know you, know what you do? So my
Yeah.
work these days has all about giving voice for the good work that people are doing and loudly and proudly find a way to share
Yeah.
that
Earlier on,
still feels authentic.
yeah. Earlier on, you mentioned that you used to, right? What
Yeah.
were the what were the events that led to you changing your mind to say, okay, be a stand for your work?
There is one book that I read. It's called Show Your Work by Austin
Absolutely.
Kleon.
Yeah.
That book literally changed my life. If you looked into my LinkedIn profile, before reading Show Your Work and after reading Show Your Work, that book was so powerful. And the moment that I read the book,
Let's take a quick pause. If you're enjoying this conversation and want more thought-provoking ideas straight to your inbox, join the Relatable Wisdom email list. It's free, quick, and filled with bite-sized insights, inspiring quotes, and behind-the-scenes reflections from our guests. Just head to relatablewisdom.com/join. That is relatablewisdom.com/join, or tap the link in the show notes. And hey, subscribing to the podcast helps more than you think, and it's free. So if you haven't already, hit that follow button wherever you're listening. All right, let's get back to the conversation.
the way that I started showing up on social media, especially LinkedIn is my platform. There is this book that literally changed the way that I started showing up online is Show Off Your Work by Austin Kleon.
Yeah.
And how much my online presence has changed, how much I started sharing was a direct result of reading that book. And one of the learnings that I've gotten from that book is people, oftentimes, if you look into many LinkedIn profiles, right? People will talk about earning a certification or getting a new job or talk about an award and an accolade that they got, right? Like these are all achievements or successes or
Yeah.
degrees or certifications, something, you achieved it. Now you're showcasing it, right? Like, and you're sharing your network. But what Austin was talking about in that book is oftentimes what we don't get to see is the behind the scenes,
Ooh.
right? Like, what are
Yeah.
all the things that you have to go through to get that degree? You have to go through to accomplish something that you are now proudly sharing on LinkedIn. That's a peek behind the curtain, right? Show us that work, talk about that work. Um, Not everything is going to be as polished and buttoned up at the end, because a certification or a degree or a new job is that final polished, buttoned up, nice bow version. But to get to there, there's so many steps, there is so many probably falls, messiness, that behind the scenes we don't get to see any of that. And that book for me changed the way how I wanted to become more real and not just talk about like, hey, look at me, I've accomplished X. In few months, I've accomplished Y, and then I have accomplished this. No, 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 no. I'm a real human. I'm going to start a leadership school. Here is my original idea. Now, here is what I have done. Here is what I'm sharing. Here is how many people I've talked. Here is something that I've messed up. Here is something that's really hard for me. But here is how I have handled this. Taking somebody through our journey makes us more relatable. So people know you not as somebody who is, oh, look at Pradeepa, she has gotten it all together.
Yeah.
No, there's so much work that goes behind the scenes to get to where we are. And when people see some of those behind the scenes, when you are willing to share that, people know that, oh, this is another human being. And they
Yeah.
are trying, they are sharing, they are struggling here, they are, challenged here, they are successful here. And that makes us more relatable there, Wisdom.
Yeah.
And when people relate to us, then they look at us differently. They don't put us in a pedestal and say, like, oh my God, that's a God, that's a goddess, or we have to worship them. They have something special. No, nobody got it anything special. People, we all have to work towards everything.
Yeah. Yeah. When you talk to in real life, right? Most people when they're watching movies, they don't like you to tell them the ending of the movie.
Yeah.
Yes, they call it spoilers. Like so
Yeah.
people could they could they could literally like get really, really angry because now you've ruined all the fun, all the excitement, all the suspense
No.
because they know this character is eventually going to die. So
Right.
what's the use, right? So in the case of sharing and showing your work, when you drop the achievements, what happens is that you're like, oh, so and so happened. Like it's like telling us the ending of the movie, what happened, right? But in showing your work, it's like you're writing your story in real time and it's unveiling and people are
Yeah.
live streaming and watching it over the course of many weeks and they're seeing
Yeah.
what happens. And that itself, that's mindset, that approach, it influences, okay, how do I want the story to be told? You're like, okay, I applied for this, I applied for the first 10 grants or opportunities. They rejected me. And then you go to your profile, let's say your LinkedIn or Twitter, and like, I applied for 10 grants, they rejected me. I'm going to apply for 100 more. And now, so that when I eventually get it, it will make my story interesting. And now, because now you're the author, you're writing. You're like, no, let's do 100. Why should we do 10 when we could do 100? If I say I apply for 10, it's not going to make the story interesting. Let's do 100. Let's do 1,000. Let's do
Yeah.
10,000.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's one interesting story that happened, Wisdom, right?
Okay.
Few weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I had a podcast interview scheduled. Actually, it's on the same platform, Riverside.
Yeah.
So, I joined via the browser. Right? So the host joined and he started asking me questions. And guess what? Before I started opening to answer that question, I got kicked out of the
Ooh.
platform.
Yeah.
And I was panicking because one of my worst nightmare is technology issues or Wi-Fi issues. And I was checking and I was thinking like, oh my God, did my Wi-Fi give up? And, there's somebody who's waiting on the other side. I don't want it to be that guest, right?
Yeah.
And then I looked around. I was able to join again. It seemed like my internet was okay. I joined again. The host was so patient. He was filling in for me. When I joined, he asked the same question so that we could pick it back up. Guess what? As soon as I started opening my mouth, I got kicked out again. I was like so panicking. I was so nervous. And that happened like 4 times, believe me. And I was sweating here, like, oh my God, this is the worst nightmare. And on a podcast where I'm a guest, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
What am I going to do? And I got kicked up. And I said, like, I apologized to the host and said, like, I can't because I couldn't think anymore because I was just going back and forth. My train of thought got so distracted, and I apologized and said, like, let's reschedule it. And I actually wrote about that on LinkedIn after 4 years. And I used to do a lot of podcasts, and I had a little bit of a break, and I wanted to get back into, I love this. I wanted to get back into it. And that was my first podcast after the break. Guess what? Super failed, right? And I wrote about it on LinkedIn. And that post got so much of amazing support from my people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So why I wanted to share that is it's a beautiful platform where you get to share not just all the wonderful things that you can do, you can share your life story, your journey, things that you are struggling with, and being human. That's to me is being human, right? And when we are being human, other people see us as human. They don't see us as somebody on the pedestal or somebody out there. To me, that is relatable.
Yeah.
To me, that
It's
is relatable, right? Like when people see
yeah.
me as human and not somebody who is just only talking about accolades and awards and accomplishments, that actually brings people closer to us as they can relate to us. I'm relatable to another human, not being a stand for my work and talking about not just all the amazing things, but talking about my journey and sharing, right? Not only people can relate to me, but people can follow the journey. People can get inspiration from the journey. People can get value from the journey. Sometimes it even motivates people to do something, to try something, because, hey, oftentimes people are afraid to share online, being a stand for their work, because they worry too much about what other people think or
Yeah.
what other people would say, how other people would critique. This is something that I have come to learn, and I share this with all my clients. Wisdom, there's going to be a segment of people who would absolutely love what you do, and they're going to be your cheerleaders. They are going to be consumers of the work that you do. They are going to help you, they love you. There's going to be a segment of population who's absolutely going to hate you no matter what you do, no matter what you say, no matter what you publish, doesn't matter. They're not just going to, they don't like anything that you do. And then there is a bunch of people in the middle, they just don't care. For
Yeah.
me, I choose to share, I choose to be a stand for my work, and I talk about my works loudly and proudly to the people that cares,
Yeah.
to the people who cheers, to the people who supports, to the people who will lend a hand when I fall down.
Yeah.
Right? And even if my journey inspires one person, what I'm talking about, being a stand is also about everything that I'm learning and I want to share with the world. Because to me, sharing is caring, and generously sharing allows other people to lean in and learn from us. They don't have to make and take all the steps to get to where they are. Sometimes our journey can be a shortcut for somebody. Hey,
Yeah.
you have done this, this, and this. Don't do this because I tried this. Don't use Riverside. Don't join Riverside via browser. Big learning. That's why today I had the app ready to
Uh,
go, Wisdom.
yeah, it's strange thing because before now, right? Had issue with Riverside. Like I just couldn't. It wasn't the network. Like the site had issue. Both the guest and the host, we could not
Yeah.
log in, and so I had to. I for me it was a learning experience. I was like, wait, I was like, this is good. It's good that this I'm having trouble trying to log in. I was like, why would I be thinking that it's good? Because now I'm forced to ask myself, what's the silver lining in it? For me, the silver lining was like, okay, wait, I don't really have a system or a backup plan or backup platform for when this platform fails. I'm like, yeah, I never did. And so I went
Yeah.
around and I did research and I came up with a platform. And so I was thinking, should I send you the link of that platform or should we use this platform? I was like, let me just see. If Riverside does anyhow, I'll just send you the link and we'll do our meeting. And that for me, it took me that occurrence for me to actually realize this. And the thing I just want us to round up with this is that showing your work is there are people in our life, there are people who don't even know that we exist. Yet the fact that they share their work and they stand up for what they do gives us the permission for us to shine our own lights and for us to do our own work too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. That's exactly why I say that. Because if I don't share my work, how would other people know? And when I'm
Yeah.
sharing about my work, my accomplishments, my journey, my struggles, I'm very proud of it. Whatever that is, I'm extremely proud of the work that I'm doing, the impact that I'm making, the people that I'm helping, all the accomplishments my students and my clients are making. I'm very proud of it. And I find all opportunities and all ways to toot the horn of my clients. Because when one of my client is doing great work as a teacher and as a coach, I'm extremely proud of them.
Yeah.
And I want to take an opportunity to recognize, to acknowledge them, to toot their horn loudly and proudly.
Yeah.
Because in this world, We have to be our own voice. We cannot wait for other people to bring their voice to talk on behalf of us. If we want to raise in our life, if we want to be successful, if we wanted to raise in our career, we have to take ownership of that. Every individual who is listening to this, there is no other way. If you don't talk about your work, nobody else will. If you are not proud about your work and willing to talk about it loudly and proudly, nobody else is going to do that for you. And in fact, if you don't share about your work, I always say this, if you are a leader, if you see yourself as a leader, I'm not talking about somebody with just a title and a rank and a position. No, and if you are in a position to influence somebody in your life and in your work, if you're a leader, sharing is caring. Because a leader's responsibility is to shine the light for themselves and others. And just like how you beautifully put it earlier, Wisdom, it will give permission for other people to step up and shine their own light because they see you shine.
Please said, Pradeepa. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing your code and for helping me make sense of it. Where can my listeners learn about you and the lovely things that you do?
LinkedIn is the best way. Wisdom, Pradeepa Narayanaswamy. They should be able to find me on LinkedIn. Like I said, I love to write, I love to share, and I share a lot about leadership and growth and personal growth, professional growth on LinkedIn. So I would love for you and your listeners to join me on my journey there.
Yeah, once again, thank you so much. You've been listening to Relatable Wisdom, and I've been your host, Wisdom Okonkwo. You've been listening to the podcast where every story, quote, and insight helps you see life a little differently. If you enjoyed today's episode, follow the show on your favorite podcast app and share it with someone who loved the conversation. For more inspiring voices and timeless wisdom, visit relatablewisdom.com. Until next time, keep living, learning, and collecting wisdom that matters most to you.